How's your week been? We haven't done that for so long.
Yeah, it's so I go back to
outs.
work. So we're recording on the 4th. I go back to work Monday, the 6th. So it's been a nice 2 weeks off, but it's been good. It's been set with intention, which is something that's been very different over my Christmas breaks. I've normally just spent my Christmas breaks just slacking and feeling tired at the end of the day from doing nothing.
Yeah.
As I was actually speaking to Mira yesterday about this, but I've never been so dialed in over a Christmas break. Like, so essentially what I did differently was that my days never changed. I still woke up at 5:30. I still went to the gym every day of my normal routine.
Yeah.
And I did essentially like an hour or two max of planning and prep and work for 2025 and setting intentions for that and what I'm going to do to crush this year. Then there'd be like an hour or two for like reading, then a little bit of socializing, a little bit of Netflix. That was like my balanced day for the last, so for the last few days, and for the last 2 weeks, that's exactly how it's been going. And I've never, even though I've done lots, I've never felt so energized at the same time.
Yeah.
Fucking
Paradox.
Dialed in, rather.
Yeah, I am. And even though it's been busy, I haven't rested, I suppose. Or when I say rested, like slacked off. Like I haven't really done that, and I've been very happy with my decision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And it's still been a break. Like if someone says, everyone's going to come back on Monday morning and be like, how was the break?
Yeah.
Did you have time to relax? It's just like, I could have had time to relax if I wanted to, but I actually feel pretty good about what I did with my with utilizing my time.
Because
with
the other
break.
side of the coin is like you feel guilty because you've done nothing for like the last 2 weeks.
Could be that too. Yeah.
And you probably still are relaxed, right? Like you're not.
I'm very
burning yourself
relaxed.
out.
Yeah. We just caught up for our first band rehearsal yesterday. Yeah, it was. Well, moving on. It's gonna get better.
Yeah.
That's it.
I think it was pretty good for 6 months
If that's your
off.
balance, like.
Yeah. I was very happy with the break.
What
about you?
Are we seeing a revisit of the band in the new year?
Yeah, absolutely.
Coming back.
That's the
Gigs?
intention. Yeah, absolutely.
Any events booked or TBC?
Will be.
Yeah.
I reckon probably sometime in late February.
So if you need
we'll
that
start kicking
triangle,
off.
I'm there.
That triangle.
Oh, you're still trying to weave in?
Yeah. Just want to be a part of something. It's okay. Do we want to start something?
I just want to be part of something whilst we're recording a podcast that we've been doing for like 3 years
This is
now.
nothing to you.
Yeah, there's nothing. I just really wanted to be a band.
This is just like work. It's like another job.
Yeah. How was your break, mate?
Mine was great. Mine was really, really good. The intention I set was like rest because it's been a very, very big last 6 months and it's going to be a massive, massive, massive year. So similar, woke up, gym, came home and I'll try and have like 2 hours of something productive. So just ticking off all those jobs that I've been putting on the back burner for the last few years. Clean the car, clean the house, bits and pieces. Not that I haven't cleaned my house for the last year. All those other, little bits and pieces. And then I would have like a big lunch, kind of 1 o'clock, and I'd have an afternoon nap. I've had an afternoon nap every day for the last 2 weeks from like probably 2 till 3. Not even like 2 till 2:30, just on the couch, and I wake up and keep being productive. We need to somehow work that into my working day. It is phenomenal. Europeans do it.
I had a terrible experience with a nap. So I don't nap.
Yeah.
Sorry to steal your thunder.
Yeah.
I don't nap. I had one nap in a couple of days ago, that was it. I don't nap. I had one nap probably all of last year, but it was only in the last couple of days. And I woke up at I think I went about 2 o'clock, woke up 2 hours later. And I woke up I didn't know my name. I was so dazed and confused.
That's too long though, right?
What happened to me? What happened to me?
It's practice. You need to practice the art of the power nap.
I did not. I was a novice because I woke up like I'd just been hit by a train.
Yeah.
I think because it was 2 hours, you probably went into deep
How
sleep.
long do you nap for then? What's a nap?
Literally
it's like 20 minutes.
Yeah, 15 to 30 minutes is the sweet spot.
I had a mini sleep.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what I stuffed up.
That's the reason is like people go too far and then they sink into a deep sleep.
Yeah.
And then when you actually wake after 2 hours, you're waking up from your REM sleep or like your deep sleep.
Yeah.
So then you feel
my circadian rhythms all busted.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're doing what he's doing, like the 15-minute one, he's not slipping into a deep sleep. He's just having like a little rest.
Yeah.
Do you set an alarm to wake up
I used
after
to,
a
but
time?
don't anymore.
All right, that's crazy.
My body
Wow.
is in tune. And also,
Like a
like
temple.
I don't have to, like, I'm on holidays. I didn't have to set an alarm.
Yeah.
But without fail, like, pretty much to the minute, 20 minutes, I'd wake up and then I would go do something else.
That's crazy.
It's the same thing. It's like your body wakes you up like a minute before your alarm.
Yeah,
Your body
that's true.
knows. It's intuitive. I woke up every 2 hours last night checking on my brisket. And it was the worst night of sleep. So after this, I'm going home for a nap.
Oh my
For
god.
the audience at home, I slow cooked a beef brisket for the first time last night, and I was really worried that I was going to burn the house down. So put it on at like 4 o'clock, and then I checked it every 2 hours. So at 8 p.m, 10 p.m, 12 p.m, 2 p.m, 4 p.m,
You just kept waking up.
6 p.m. went to gym. Yep.
So maybe like this year, 30 days of no alarms, just telling yourself when
Just
to wake up.
Just
And
raw
see-
dogging your own
Yeah,
clock.
raw dogging your circadian rhythm.
Yeah.
And just see how many times you can tell yourself, I'm going to wake up at 6, and then just see if you wake up at 6.
I know I could do it.
It doesn't get any more bro science than
I'm
that.
confident I
Hey,
can
no
do it.
alarms for 30 days. That's just that is just the YouTube
Wait, it's like-
tagline.
no, it's like
right?
everyone's
that's,
taking
that's the
everything
elevator
else.
hook.
Everyone's taking everything else like 30 days of no coffee, 30,
Yeah.
30 days of no
No
alarms.
Actually,
raw
has
dogging my
anyone
sleep.
done that? That's a pretty good
on day
idea.
30, I'm going to be like, so I'm looking for employment.
Yeah, you missed
I've
about
missed-
2 weeks
yeah.
of work.
I've been fired day 14. Like,
I've lost 3 jobs in this time.
Okay, I could work around it.
so that was your holiday.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
I genuinely think if you left your blinds open, the natural light would wake you up. Unless
yeah.
you're like either drunk or like, even when I've had a massive night, my body still wakes me up at like 7 a.m.
Yeah. I feel like that's the balance, right? Is having light come into your room in the morning, but then
Yeah.
you need a dark room to sleep in.
I've calloused my mind to power nap.
To the power
Sleep
nap.
anywhere, anytime.
30 days of power naps.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I'm gonna bring
That's
it in.
pretty good.
So yeah,
tagline.
that's been my 2 weeks.
Nice.
Thanks for listening to my TED talk. What have you been up to, mate?
Mine's been just like all over the place, honestly.
Yeah.
As you boys obviously know, Mum went into hospital
Yeah.
over the Christmas week. So it was a bit rough. And other than that, it's been pretty chill. Like,
Been a dog dad.
been a dog dad, house
House
sitting
sitting.
for Angelo and Anthea
Yep.
with Mira. For Christmas, like we went up and saw Mira's family, saw my mum in hospital, went out with her. Other than that, it's been pretty chill.
Do you have much time off the laptop, or are you still working a fair bit?
Yeah, surprisingly, yes.
Yeah.
I think just
Well,
because
didn't fall apart.
no, it's been good. Like I kind of was slowing down anyway for this year, which is
Yeah.
great after so many years of like not really giving myself time off. To just actually like properly be able to switch off and tell clients that I'm off for that time period. But then with everything else that has sort of gone on over the past month, it's just kind of forced me to not be
Yeah.
on my laptop.
You haven't
and
been
doing
working as
stuff.
much, but it's just been replaced with other shit.
Yeah, it's been good as well. Just like obviously with how many appointments and things I've had to go to. So yeah.
Feeling ready to hit the new year though?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Locked and loaded?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good year. It's going to be hectic in terms of just everything that we have planned for this podcast, and I guess everything else, like you said. Is it a better year?
Yeah.
What makes it a better year?
Because it was better than last year.
Better.
Better than new tagline.
Yeah.
Not just better than yesterday.
Yeah, we're
Better than last
averaging
year.
it out. Because it's just one day, you know what I mean? Like, it's easy to have a bad day, but we're going to average it over the year. Better than last year. So why are we here today?
Because we're going to talk about goals
Yeah.
and goal setting.
So what's the ethos behind that? What are we trying to achieve? Why are we setting goals?
Why are we doing it now?
Yeah.
Is it goal setting or is it like New Year's resolutions? No, I think it should be goal setting.
we
I don't
discussed
like
this last year as well, right?
I don't like New Year's resolutions.
Do you feel like we missed the boat? Day 4?
No, because I think
No.
people are still in that kind of, they haven't gone back to work yet, so they're still in that kind of
Yeah,
weird time frame where, you know, you don't know what day it is and
true. Yeah.
still looking forward to the year.
So like if you're like waiting till you get back to work.
Yeah, to kind of like lock in.
You know
Oh, okay. We can talk about that, but yeah, go ahead.
No, you go.
No, you were about to talk.
No, I'll go. So basically, go back.
A lot of what I've been reading recently was essentially having the complete opposite mentality to that.
Yeah.
We're always pushing things to, it'll be most appropriate to set goals from the 1st of January. It'll be most appropriate to start that new hobby from the first of the new financial year. Like, I'll set a new budget from 1 July. Even though I know I'm going to derail myself financially from now till 30 June, it makes sense to start from the financial year. But I suppose the what I've been reading and I suppose anecdotally is one of the things I learned from last year was, don't delay whatever you're going to do just because it sets the cultural norm, right? So goal setting, traditionally New Year's resolutions, don't start, if you're coming to terms with this in the 15th of November, that you're like, man, I know this X habit would benefit me right now in my life, but it makes sense to do it from the 1st of January. That is the complete wrong attitude to have to these things. If you know something is going to be good for you, it doesn't matter if you figure it out on the 24th of December. Start at the 24th of December if you want. And that's kind of the attitude I had with writing.
Yeah.
So I want to write more, and so one of my plans was I want to write more from the start of this year, but I didn't start writing from January 1st. I've been writing since the 20th of December for content that I'm going to put out this year.
Yeah.
I definitely agree with that. I've sort of thought about this over the years of like, like sort of Groundhog Day or that other movie with Tom Cruise where he's in a futuristic...
Edge of Tomorrow,
yeah. I don't know if we've already talked about this previous episodes, but like resetting each day or resetting each week, like that's giving you a new opportunity to start again instead of like waiting for the new year.
Yes.
Realizing that each day is technically like,
That's
even
right.
if you didn't do as great that particular day, you could start the habit again or try and reset and see how you go from the next point. So I think that's really good as well, breaking those norms in your own mind and saying like, hey, it is a Thursday. I'm not going to wait till Monday to go to the gym again to get started.
Exactly right.
I'm going to go Thursday and just start because it's a Thursday and because today is the right day to do it. I think that breaks it in your mind.
Yeah,
True.
I do like that. Only other devil's advocate is like when we're talking about goal setting and things like that, it's nice to have a timeline. So I think like it does make sense like to start on the 1st of whenever. It could be the 1st of December as well too. And that way too, like I think you see a lot of people start new things and they're not potentially mentally prepared for it. And that's why you kind of see it like trail off. I think if you have a couple, you close down from the end of the new year, from the end of the year, have that 2 weeks to reset and then set your intentions and get ready to kind of attack the new year. I do see like obviously the ethos behind it because it's like you've had a chance to reflect and see what you did do well and what you didn't do well, and then prepare yourself kind of for the new year. So I'm still an advocate for Jan 1.
Are we all pro or con setting goals each year?
I'm recently pro. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I watched a video by Ali Abdaal. Do you know Ali Abdaal?
Yeah.
He's like the productivity guy on YouTube, massive YouTube channel. And before we even decided to do a goals episode of the pod, I watched this maybe 2 weeks ago. And he was talking about the science-backed work behind goal setting. And it was, let me get the stat up, but it was, writing down goals increases the likelihood of achieving them by 42%, according to the research. So I didn't want to get into this airy-fairy goal setting. You got to set tangible, smart goals, and then you got to set goals that are aligned to your identity, like the Ben Crow and everything like that, which is definitely what we spoke about at the start of last year.
Yeah.
But what I suppose I got comfort in from watching this video is that the science-backed papers that Ali Abdaal was referencing for each of these 5 methods and systems is stuff that we covered off on.
Yeah.
So it turns out that we didn't know we were on the science-backed path, but that kind of helped me lean into setting goals as a good thing. So do you want me to talk about the teachings from... So there's essentially, it's all about building a system to achieve the goals, not just manifesting goals. So when you're setting goals, it's not enough to just go, okay, I have a goal for myself. I'm going to go to the gym at least 4 mornings a week. In my mind, without writing it down, without having any accountability, without having a system behind it, that's not enough to achieve it. Your goals inevitably will fall off based on the science. Yeah. So the step 1, goal setting importance, write down the goals because that increases the likelihood of achieving it by 42%. Step 2, a weekly review. So regularly, once you've written your goal down, I want to do gym 4 days a week, regularly review the goals helps activate the brain's reticular activating system, which keeps the goals in mind. So the reticular activating system is like this bunch of nerves in like the base of your brainstem, is my understanding. And it is the part of the brain where it forces the things that are at the front of your mind to be noticed more. So the example that he gave was if you're in the market to buy a red Ferrari, all of a sudden you start seeing all the red Ferraris on the road. Yeah. It's because you made it. It's because it's sunk into the reticular activating system, and that is what you're now seeing. So if your goal is, to buy a new car or something, you're going to start seeing the cars. But you apply it to something else, like something more productive, like one of your goals, and all of a sudden your brain starts filtering out what is not important to that goal. But the key thing was reviewing it weekly. Whether it's reviewing it daily's too much, but if you have your goals on a whiteboard and you just review it weekly and you see it there weekly, your brain will start automatically going into this mode of, I only see things that support the goal. Really cool. Step 3, progress monitoring. So tracking the progress through simple methods, weekly check-ins and accountability. So sometimes it's not enough to just know that you can do it like in a vacuum. You have to have mates like this to be like, hey, speaking honestly, these are my goals for the year. I'm going to try and track it weekly. Hopefully you can hold me accountable to it. So I don't know how that's going to go, but
I love that. That actually ties into
does it?
What I was going to talk about too, because
I go for gold.
I mean, that's the exact same principles that I want to talk about from the 12-week year, which is a book that talks all about breaking your year down into like 4 quarters.
Yeah, that's
technically
cool.
It's like 12 weeks is now a year. That's the mindset. So it gives you a sense of urgency.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
So instead of planning in a full 365 days or 12 months, technically if you break it down into 12 weeks, it gives you the sense of urgency rather than what a lot of people do is they set these big goals for the whole year and then potentially don't take action all year until the very last time when there's a sense of urgency. But a lot of the principles in that book are exactly what you talked about. It talks about obviously setting your big goal, breaking it down then into like what's actually manageable for the year. Then what's your 12-week goal for the next 12 weeks? What are your goals that you're going to work towards? But then breaking it down into what are you doing each week, or what are the lead or lag indicators of what's actually taking action to lead towards that goal. And I think that's across so many different parts, is like actually breaking your goals down into
manageable
sort of like
pieces.
Manageable pieces and steps where you actually see the pathway. And potentially even like what you said is like a lot of people might just go to gym. They might not even have 4 times a week.
Yeah.
Like that's the start of it. And then when are you going to go to gym and breaking it down, and what are you tracking to make sure that you are showing up each day? I think, that's the exact same idea that you just mentioned.
And what the system also asks you to reflect on is the obstacles that are going to stop you. So you actually have to sabotage your own goals to achieve your goals. Yeah. So if your goal is, I want to do gym 4 times a week in the morning, you have to sabotage your goal and go, well, what's going to stop me? Firstly, have I laid my gym clothes out the night before so it's easy to go? Am I making it easy for me? Is my alarm set? Is everything easy? Am I going to bed at the right time to give myself the hours to get the motivation to do it? So you actually have to think of the obstacles to achieving your goal and then essentially prep it and do the opposite.
Yeah.
So with that 12-week, are you setting, would they still be like short-term goals rather than long-term goals? Like if you're like, I want to achieve this year, breaking it down to smaller goals and just making sure achieving each one of those goals every 12 weeks? Or
I think the way that you're sort of viewing it as like you have obviously your long-term goal, which might be like 3 to 5 years.
Yeah.
Then you might have like your overall like goals of where you want to be at the end of say years from now.
Yeah.
But then when you look at the 12 weeks, what is it you want to have achieved after those 12 weeks? And then potentially like what are the steps or things you need to do each week that are going to get you to that 12 weeks?
That's interesting too, even just when you said that, like, where do I want to be at the end of the year? You always think of goals like, what do I want to achieve this year?
Yeah.
Rather than like, where do I want to be? Like, what's my ideal life that I want to try and picture for myself to try and be there? Something I've always really struggled with goal setting is I feel like life is so turbulent and changes so frequently. And it's really hard to like plan out for the year when you could have a whole, we could say, hey, I want to make sure that I post 2 reels for this podcast, for the rest of the year. And then we get 6 months of the year and we're not doing it anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think that's where even yours comes in, saying like constantly reviewing and kind of potentially pivoting the goalposts. Because it's not a bad thing necessarily to scrap a goal and to have a new one. Yeah. Like, it's the ones that you make in January don't have to be, or December.
No, because people
whatever.
change. And one of the last step of that system was tie the goal to an identity. So it's very much the Ben Crow method.
Yeah.
Tied to an identity. And I think if your goal was post 2 reels and you get to July and you're just like, well, I've fallen off the bandwagon. Yeah, but maybe your identity has changed. Maybe things in your life have changed. But hey, you can at least look on and reflect on the last 6 months that you broke it down into not just 12 weeks, but like 24 weeks. You're going half a year and you have still conquered something in that period of time. Yeah, and the goalposts change, whatever, but you've done something, that has moved you forward still. So it's not a complete loss, hey.
Shoot for the stars.
I think that's a really important part, like you said, is the identity of shaping who you're trying to be, I guess, as well, and identifying with that type of person. And I think also the weekly reviews, like you mentioned, is super important, because it's easy enough to just like, again, get halfway through the year and then you open up your goal sheet or whatever, your journal or whatever, and you're like, oh shit, like I actually wrote this down. I haven't looked at this in months.
Good to review.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Where do you stand on like realistic goals? Like, if you came and said like, hey, one of my goals is I want my business to make 200K per month. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you're obviously, like, it could be different for where you are in your business at the moment. Might be, not able to be achieved. But if you set the bar that high, like anything below it, you're still going to be successful. But then you're not actually going to be able to achieve that goal.
Yeah.
So where's it kind of like shoot for the stars, but then like you're not getting the satisfaction of actually completing the goal because it's too outrageous? Or is any goal too outrageous?
Like,
because there's no rules. Like, no one's imposing you to set any goals.
It's what's going to make you feel good.
That's right. You just like set whatever makes you feel good, and if you don't fully achieve it, or maybe there is some benefit to setting a pie in the sky crazy goal, like,
because like what if?
Because what if you did? But then if you're working down that systematic goal setting process, okay, if making 200 grand a month is my goal, and then you start working through the steps of, okay, so now on a weekly basis, what's the metric I'm going to track to achieve 200? Do I have the resources to achieve 200? And then all the other things, like, well, and then it ties back to the identity. Are you trying to identify as like an overnight millionaire success? Is that like truly who you are? And then you'll probably just scrap the goal. But if it's like, hey, if my identity is to be a providing husband and father, and to
just scrap the goal.
To achieve that, the goal is not 200,000 a month, but 20,000 a month. And I can achieve it this way. Well, then you've kind of won, right? Because your identity was like, be a providing husband, and based on your budget, 20 grand a month is going to do that. Hey, why did you need 200?
I think there's a balance as well, right? Because like if you set a super unrealistic goal, potentially that's going to discourage you. Like if you don't hit that. And then you just...
It just depends on what kind of mindset you're in.
Yeah. I think it's going to discourage you if you set something like super unrealistic. Like if you have like a totally warped reality of what is possible, and then you try to set this goal. On one hand, it's great that you're setting a goal that potentially might help you, I don't know, stretch yourself and get uncomfortable and potentially like go after something bigger than you thought you were capable of. But then on the other side, if you don't get it, like that might discourage you away from ever trying towards that goal again.
Yeah.
What do you think then, like if you're setting your goals for the year, and like if you're someone that's potentially just like you're graduating university right now, then your goal for the year is like, I'm going to be a multi-millionaire with 10 Lamborghinis and like
just real top
traveling overseas. Yeah. Like, is that actually a good goal for you to set for the year, or is that like just completely unrealistic?
I think maybe just like on the high end of what's achievable. I think because it's hard to like even what you think you're able to achieve and what other people think. Like I feel like sometimes you can, you know, not put yourself down, but assume that you'll achieve less than what you actually think you're capable of. So I think by pushing those limits, I don't know, tricky. I guess we'll see.
One thing that I picked up at the start of last year or the end of 2023, I saw Jesse Itzler, who is a American entrepreneur. He has a really good view on setting goals for the new year, and he talks about he likes to plan out his entire year, right? So he sells this giant calendar. He calls it the big ass calendar, right?
Yeah.
But he puts out a lot of content around making the most of your year. And so he plans out things like every year he wants to do what he calls a misogi, right? Which is technically something that is incredibly challenging and hard for the year. One thing that's like incredibly hard or challenging. And then he also wants to plan out semi-regular vacations or weekends away or activities. So he's regularly getting time away with friends or family and things like that throughout the year. So he's planning those out before. He also sets like one habit he's going to actually stick to for the quarter. So rather than like overloading himself with multiple different habits, it's just one that he's going to actually implement and stick to for the year, and potentially implement for his life for each quarter. So it's something he can stick to over that time period and actually make it work. And I just thought that's a really interesting perspective because like on that side of things, he's actually planning out like adventures and life experiences and not just like the goals that he's going after. He's like making sure he's got time for the actual things he wants to do throughout the year, the memories he wants to create. And I think that's another interesting take that I've tried to implement as well.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Do you think it takes away from the excitement and spontaneity of life though? If you're planning out when to have fun?
I don't think it's like planning out when to have fun, but I think it's like planning out like, hey, these are things that I actually want to do this year. Like these are experiences I want to have. This is what I'm going to do this year. And like setting the time for it, because I'm sure a lot of people say they want to, I don't know, go to a certain place or travel somewhere or catch up with certain family.
It's never a good time.
Yeah, it's never a good time.
No, fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, very fair.
So that's been an interesting take on like planning your year, because a lot of the time it's like, these are my goals and now I'm just locked into work. But potentially it's also like, here's the memories that I want to create and this is what's going to fill my cup up for the year. So I'm going to plan these in ahead of time so I know when the time comes, this is what I'm achieving.
You know, you can like surprise yourself and tick off goals that you didn't even think you were going to have this year.
Yeah.
I know I had on my bucket list since I was like 13 to go watch Drake live. And he's coming to Australia, Brody, Mira and I are going to see him. Was not on my 2025 bingo card. Did not think it was going to happen. And we're going to go see him live.
Finally.
But you know what I mean? Like you can have things that you didn't think were going to happen. So you just kind of go with the motion of the ocean, baby.
I'm just wondering, is there anything else that you guys have used or seen that like you feel is useful for people thinking about their years ahead? So we've obviously talked about like potentially obviously having a really structured plan or process behind the goals that you're trying to go after. Not giving yourself a hard time.
Tell the
around,
people around you, keep you accountable.
Keeping you accountable.
They might be able to help.
We have like first-hand experience with this. Like the tracker that we all used, the four of us used at the start of last year. Yeah. It was amazing. I like that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
That Excel sheet.
I found that awesome for accountability. I've always been like, I don't want to be accountable to other people. But like I thought that was like amazing in terms of just
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, like it was great being able to like see where we were all at, and it made me feel like I didn't want to like fuck up. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I didn't want to. I wanted to actually like make sure I was doing those 100%. Habits each day.
And there's also too, like you share your goals. There might be people that have similar goals, or they might be able to help you, you know, achieve them as well too.
to bring that back.
Yeah.
Do you think one of the hesitations, the main hesitation with goal setting, is that people don't want to look like failures if they don't? If they don't
I don't think
achieve
people
it?
care. I think like, you know how you told me that thing about you actually get an equal, I don't know if it's equal, but you get a dopamine
or like,
hit,
yeah,
serotonin hit just from talking about your goals. It almost is equal to like
Achieving the goal?
actually achieving the goal.
It's pretty
And
messed
so
up.
anytime I talk about like, oh, I'm gonna, like, I know I've been saying it all week. I was like, oh, I'm gonna do reels this week. I'm gonna edit reels this week. I kept telling you guys, and then it got to Friday. I was like, I actually need to go edit something else. So like, I think people potentially don't think into it that deeply and are really happy to talk about them, less so than actually achieving them. But yeah, tell your friends.
That's the other side of it, because like if you're not achieving it, technically nobody else is really going to care.
Yeah.
But then like it's still eating away at you if you didn't do it that year.
Yeah.
So.
Hold yourself accountable.
And potentially hold each other accountable.
Yeah.
If you get benefit from that.
After this episode, you guys are going to show me your goals for the year. I'm going to...
Yeah, do you guys want to drop any goal?
No, I don't want to be held accountable.
You want to talk about like, you want to get the serotonin hit? Like,
No, that's okay.
Yeah, I want to write every single week
Yeah.
without fail, and I want to publish it and put it out. Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah. And now I'm on the record, so I have to do it.
Hold them accountable in the comments.
Yeah. To all those 23 people that will hold me accountable.
There's 123 people last week.
Oh,
Okay.
is it? Okay. Yeah, cool. There's
Shout out,
323
Paddy.
people. Yeah. I think that's pretty much the only thing I'm willing to say.
Yeah.
So fair.
My goal for the year is to hold Ben accountable to his goal.
And my
I'm
goal
really
is to
ready
hold
for it.
you accountable.
To hold Ben accountable?
Yeah.
I count three.
Animals.
1, 2, 3. Ben,
Yeah.
woo!
Yeah.
I don't have any more.
You don't
value
have
to
anything
add,
else?
So no, that's it. I've set goals in each category of my life. I've put time limits of them and when I want to achieve them, and then I've broken them down into smaller goals on how I'm going to achieve them. So I've got mine. I'm locked and loaded for the year.
Nice.
I'm ready for
Sweet.
a massive year.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm
I've
going
also-
to go home and write them.
I have tied mine to my values
Yep.
throughout the year. So I redid the values exercise. And like I said, my values have almost virtually completely changed over the last 12 months. And one of my biggest values was like integrity. And that's something that I want to be a massive, massive focus on for this year. So a lot of my goals have stemmed from that value and part of the identity that I want to create for myself for this year.
Do you think it's worse if you don't achieve your goal, which you've tied to your values? Therefore, you're actually betraying yourself on a much deeper level than just surface level goal achievement? Like if your value is integrity and your goal is X related to the identity of integrity, and then you've failed at it, do you think it's worse?
It's something that you want to work towards. So if you don't achieve it, as long as you're trying to, I think that's the good start. Like if, for example, like mine was integrity. So something I can do that is making sure that I'm being my most authentic self and I'm being honest with all interactions that I have. May mess up here and there, but as long as I'm keep coming back to that goal, it's the median, the average. As long as I have more that I do rather than I don't, then I see that as a success at the end of the year.
So is the secret of all of this wrapped up in a nutshell
A nice little
that
bow on
it's
it.
not actually a big deal if you don't achieve your goals, but making progress towards
Yeah, because it's the journey, not the
goal.
destination, baby.
That's right.
The goal is the destination, which is irrelevant. It's that each day we're trying to work towards it. It's always the same. Doesn't change.
Oh my God, it's all come full circle again.
Yeah. And stoicism is
No, don't stop talking about stoicism. We can't keep doing it.
I'm ready to go. Thanks for listening. Bye.